No, I don't. I don't regret what I did. As I said, I think reasonable people may well disagree about how I thought about what to do in these circumstances. But I think that what I did was actually reasonable in these circumstances. Um, in terms of the rules, I think that the rules make clear that if you're dealing with small children, then that can be exceptional circumstances. And I think that the situation that I was in was exceptional circumstances, and I think that the way that I dealt with it was the least risk to everybody concerned if my wife and I had both been unable to look after our 4-year-old. There have been numerous false stories in the media about my actions and statements regarding COVID. In particular, there were stories suggesting that I had opposed lockdown and even that I did not care about many deaths. For years I have warned of the dangers of pandemics. Last year I wrote about the possible threat of coronaviruses and the urgent need for planning. The truth is that I had argued for lockdown, I did not oppose it. But these stories had created a very bad atmosphere around my home. I was subject to threats of violence, people came to my house shouting threats, there were posts on social media encouraging attacks, there were many media reports on TV showing pictures of my house. I was also worried that given the severity of this emergency, this situation would get worse, and I was worried about the possibility of leaving my wife and child at home all day and often into the night while I worked in number 10. I thought the best thing to do in all the circumstances was to drive to an isolated cottage on my father's farm. I did not ask the Prime Minister about this decision. He was ill himself and he had huge problems to deal with. Every day I have to exercise my judgment about things like this and decide what to discuss with him. I thought that I would speak to him when the situation clarified over coming days, including whether I had symptoms and whether there were tests available. Arguably this was a mistake, and I understand that some will say that I should have spoken to the Prime Minister before deciding what to do. So I drove the three of us up to Durham that night, arriving roughly at midnight. I did not stop on the way. I've seen some of the media obviously over the last couple of days, and I'm not surprised that a lot of people are very angry, and lots of people, if you're someone sitting at home watching a lot of the media over the last 3 days, then I think lots of people would be very angry, and I completely understand that. But I hope and think that today, when I've actually explained all of the circumstances about it, I think people will realise this was a very complicated, tricky situation, and I was trying to weigh up a lot of different things. Some people might have behaved differently in some ways. As I said, arguably it was a mistake that I didn't call the Prime Minister on the Friday night, and I just did what I thought was the right thing to do. But